The Pope's Exorcist, Mike's Instant Movie Review. Let's have a discussion on this movie. Now, should you or should you not go see it? Normally you see me and I'll say, yeah, you should go see it. Talk about other movies. I'm not so sure about this one. Even for horror fans, if you're a diehard horror fan that needs to see every single horror movie, yeah, go see it. But if you're a little more discerning, then I think I'll give you a reason. First of all, if you're not a horror fan, if you get squeamish, I guess you can skip this one. If you're a horror fan, you wouldn't like it anyway. But basically, even for horror fans, I wasn't terribly motivated by this movie. Now, I want to give it some context because I want to be fair. In full disclosure, I was coming out of, a medical procedure, dental medical procedure. And so I was a little, what do you have that shit in your fucking mouth? The stuff so you don't feel pain, the Novocaine or the whatever the fuck. So topical or tropical, whatever the fuck, topical, I guess, on the topic of my fucking tooth. So I was a little tired and I was a little emotionally and physically spent just because, when people are in your mouth fucking around, it doesn't make me feel good. Now, nothing against the dentists and his assistants. I'm sure they did a wonderful job. But I just, went to see this movie because I couldn't deal with the world for a while. I didn't want to talk to people. There was only one other person in the movie theater until the last 5 minutes of the movie. That was interesting. This babbling couple came in with snacks and 5 minutes before the movie ended. And I don't know if they bought tickets to see a movie after our movie and they let them in. I don't know what the fuck. But they came in talking and gabbing and all this horse shit. But anyway, going back to the actual film, why did I not get terribly jazzed or juiced by this Pope's Exorcist? Although I did find this person's parking way too close to me, by the way. Did I find myself impressed with the acting by Russell Crowe? I did. I think Russell Crowe did a fine job. He kind of felt a little bit like Alec Guinness from, he's starting to look a little bit like Alec Guinness from the first Star Wars. But we all get older, but Russell's handling his aging well. Good role for him. I thought he did great in the role. I thought the kid actor, there's a couple of kids in this movie that get possessed, and I thought they did well. Especially the little boy did very well as a child possessed. The mom was all right. The other priests were okay. I guess it was like a Vatican type of fucking thing. I don't know. This is what I didn't like about this movie. I've seen plenty of exorcism movies. There was something that came out last September. It was something like there was nuns. There was like evil nuns or whatever the fuck. There's just a lot of fucking exorcism movies ever since The Exorcist. And I don't know if there's any before. But, Linda Blair, The Exorcist movie, you're never really going to top that, but there have been other movies that have done well. This lady did park really close to me, but she did a good job of not smashing my door, which was nice. It's got a big suburban high country and a big ass. So anyway, but there's been so many horror exorcism movies that it's starting to feel redundant. And, all the tricks of the possessed kid, swearing and going nuts. And your mother eats pea soup or whatever the fuck that Linda Blair said. But just all the, not to say cliches, I guess cliches, but just the standard issue, oh my God, the child's possessed by Satan routine. And, but, movies like The Conjuring, I think they just told better stories, to be honest, more original stories. I mean, if this movie had come out before The Exorcist, which was like 45 years ago at this point, maybe it would be better. But there's just been a lot of these elements, the old priest, young priest dynamic, the fucking single mom because daddy's dead dynamic, the fucking sad kids because daddy's dead and then they get possessed by the devil. All this shit's been done. You know, the creepy museum or whatever. We're in Italy. Just a lot of elements that I've seen in other movies were kind of put in this thing. Even the special effects, you know, naked girl with big boobs smothered in blood. We've seen that. I mean, done better, to be honest with you. The crab walk thing where like the person, you know, gets like, even what was it, Megan, the fucking doll movie, horror movie, where like you do that creepy crab, which I think was an Exorcist thing as well. That was in here. I don't know if that's a real thing. Climbing the fucking walls. I mean, just like a lot of shit we've seen in other exorcism movies, and that's okay. Like I made a video when I saw, you know, sports cliche movie Sweetwater. I did my review on that, and I was okay with some of the racism stuff from the 50s and the 60s because that really happened. And I guess you could say in this world of exorcisms, if all this stuff is commonplace, sure, it can happen in more than one movie. But I just didn't, I didn't feel that this movie was presented in such a unique way that it was riveting. Like I said, the actors did their part. I just feel like the script or the story or the direction was just kind of paint by the fucking numbers. Now, once again, I was coming out of a tooth situation. I was in some discomfort. I was tired. Preferably, I wouldn't have been in the movie theater at that time, but I mean, I just was not up for dealing with human beings, you know, in real life. So part of it could have been me, but I don't think that this movie is going to rock anybody's fucking world. It just feels like more of the same. And they leave it at the end for like a fucking sequel, but who gives a fuck? You know, I mean, I feel, I'm going to say I feel bad for Russell Crowe. He's had a better life than I've had. Better career anyway, but I mean, I feel like he's a great actor who is kind of doing his best with like a tricycle, you know what I mean? It's like put Mario Andretti on the tricycle and see how fast he goes. Understand? So that's it. I didn't particularly like, I did one thing about the movie I liked. I can find one little thing. The movie takes place in like 1987. And they did a really good job. Like the kids are wearing Walkmans, the little boy and his older sister, the teenage sister, and they're wearing Walkmans to basically play the music that the kids are listening to for us, the audience. And they played a track that I hadn't heard. A shout out to my old roommate, Zach Sanford. We Care a Lot by the original Faith No More. Before Mike Nice, I think that's the guy's name. No, that's the Social Distortion guy. Who's the Faith No More singer, Michael Patton. Before him, there was another guy. Did you know that? And they had like one semi-hit called I Care a Lot. And it's a really great song, and I guess it was out in 1987. But they played that. I think they played a song by The Cult. I don't want to get copyright infringement, whatever that fucking song is. And they played like another. Oh, I hate the fucking Violent Femmes, by the way. An old elementary school pal of mine's sister introduced me to the world of Violent Femmes, and I just think they've always sucked. You know, look. I want to put it this way: the songs that I know by them, fuck off. I mean, I hate Violent Femmes, and that was the fucking. Blister in the Sun wasn't the one in this movie. It was the other one that they have. They have like a hit and a half. And their half of a hit was in this movie. And it's like, oh, we're playing the Violent Femmes to show that we're the edgy assholes from 1987. Okay, thank you. Fuck you. Bye. Doesn't work for me, pals. But that's it. So that's Mike's instant fucking movie review. Didn't really care for this one. I wanted to see Nefarious. I'll have to see that at another time. I do have my ticket tomorrow night, as of right now, to see Super Mario, whatever the fuck, 3D, D-screen. I'm going to go now before this woman opens her car door on me again. Okay, have a good night, folks.